What is a protractor? A protractor is a geometric tool used to measure and draw angles. It usually consists of a flat, transparent, circular or semicircular plastic or metal tool with markings or degree measures along the edge. The protractor is used by placing its center point at the vertex of the angle to be measured or drawn, aligning one of its arms with one side of the angle, and then reading the measurement or angle value along the other arm. Protractors can measure angles in degrees, radians, or gradians, and are commonly used in mathematics, engineering, architecture, and other fields that require accurate angle measurements. What is gradians? Gradians, also known as grads or gon, is a unit of angular measurement that is less commonly used than degrees or radians. A gradian is defined as 1/400th of a circle, which means that there are 400 gradians in a full circle, 360 degrees or 2 pi radians. In practical terms, a gradian can be thought of as a way to measure angles that divides a circle into 400 equal parts instead of 360 degrees, or 2 pi radians. One advantage of using gradians is that it allows for more precise measurements of angles, since each gradian is a smaller unit than a degree or a radian. However, gradians are not commonly used in everyday life or in most academic fields. They are primarily used in some engineering and surveying applications, particularly in some European countries. Show me an equation on how gradian would be used. Sure. Here is an example equation that uses gradians. Suppose you want to convert an angle of 30 degrees to gradians. The formula to convert degrees to gradians is angle in gradians equals angle in degrees, 360, x 400. Using this formula, we can calculate the equivalent angle in gradians as follows. Angle in gradians equals 30, 360, x 400. Angle in gradians equals 0.0833 by 400. Angle in gradians equals 33.33. Therefore, an angle of 30 degrees is equivalent to an angle of 33.33 gradians. What kind of problem could that solve for? One practical problem that could be solved using gradians is a surveying or engineering problem where very precise angle measurements are required. Gradians can be useful in these fields because they allow for smaller and more precise angle measurements than degrees or radians. For example, suppose you are working on a surveying project where you need to accurately measure the angles between a series of landmarks. Using gradians could allow you to make more precise measurements and avoid errors that could occur if you were using degrees or radians. Another potential use case for gradians is in navigation, particularly for precise calculations of bearings and directions. However, it's worth noting that in most everyday situations, degrees or radians are more commonly used and provide sufficient precision. How would it be used in engineering? Gradians could be used in engineering for applications where precise angle measurements are required. For example, in civil engineering, surveyors may use gradians to measure the angles between various points when laying out roads, bridges, and other infrastructure. Gradians could also be useful in mechanical engineering, particularly in applications where the accurate measurement of small angles is important, such as in the design and construction of precision machinery. In addition, some specialized engineering fields, such as geodetic engineering or satellite navigation, may use gradians in their calculations and measurements. Overall, while gradians are not commonly used in all areas of engineering, they could be a useful tool in specific applications where very precise angle measurements are required. However, it's worth noting that degrees and radians are more commonly used in most engineering fields, and engineers are typically trained to work with those units of measurement.